Richard Lewis here. I owned a bicycle shop for 20 years through the 1990s, and so I have a little bit of background in this, and so I want to show you the number one improvement that you can make to your electric bike's brakes. And that is to change out the 5mm cable housing that your brakes have used. And you can use the standard inner wire that came with your electric bike, or you can upgrade to a Teflon coated inner wire like these ones off of Amazon. And here's the reason to change out the 5mm housing. Now I'm talking about here, this is targeted for 2.0 owners. It may apply to 1.0 owners. Some of these changes have been made as improvements on the 3.0. This is a piece of brake cable housing off of my 2.0 bike. And this particular housing, this 5mm housing, has a plastic liner and then use longitudinal pieces to reduce compression. The only problem with this is actually not an optimal cable to use in that application. More regularly, you would find the use of a spiral wound cable, and that would be like this housing here. This is a piece of Bontrager housing cut right off of a Bontrager bulk roll, and it's a spiral housing. And this works fine with the inner wires from your electric bike. And in fact, the inner wire diameter, outer diameter compared to the inside diameter of this 5mm housing will actually slide a lot easier. So this is going to do two things for you. This is going to make the brakes much more responsive. When you pull on them, you will have lower lever effort, and you'll also have quicker rebound of the brakes. So something to do if you decide you want to make that change out, to change the housing and or the inner wire, then you're going to want to have some cable cutters that are specially for that type of cutting. And that can be used on the inner wires, can be used also on the housing. If you are not feeling DIY-ish to do it, you can get a regular bike shop to do this change for you for not too expensive money, and they can put in the new housing. If you're doing it yourself, you are going to have to unwind some of that plastic covering that wraps around your inner wire, or rather around your 5mm cable, and wraps around some of your electrical wires that go from the handlebars and the dash back to the motor, back to the central battery connection area underneath your bike. So you'll have to make some of those changes if you want to do it yourself. Otherwise, you can have a bike shop do it. The way to do it when you make the change is cut a piece of cable housing that is the size that you think you need, and then slide on that onto the end of the cable and slide that up through that wrap and through the frame anchor points, and you can put the cable in without having to undo all that plastic wrap. Thanks a lot.